Hello and how are you? Hey friends, welcome to the Shen Show. I am your host, Shenandoah Briscoe, coming to you from right here in St. Charles, Missouri. Hey, you know what? Today is Wednesday, November the 3rd, 2021. That's right, Wednesday. Got a happy birthday shout out going out for Victoria Kesler and Stephanie M. Verhine. So without further ado, here is birthday song for the two of you. Hey Stephanie, hey Victoria, hey, I heard it's your birthday today. So happy birthday, I must say. You know, that's another year that has passed away. So happy birthday to you, I say. I said, hey, Victoria. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, I heard it's your birthday today. Why, that's another trip around the sun that you made. I hope you're enjoying your special day because it's your happy birthday day today. I said it's your happy birthday day today. Yeah. All right, and how about them Shen Show shout-outs? That's right, folks that like or love the Shen Show that made mention of it for yesterday's show would be Martin Kelly, Mike Barton, Jamie O'Driscoll, and my Pokey pal, Amanda Sizzle. All right, well, there's your Shen Show shout-outs. Looks like it's time for the weather forecast for the St. Charles viewing area, and that's going to be brought up to you by Refreshing Word Fellowship Church. Refreshing Word Fellowship Church is located at 2052 and 2054 Campus Drive, St. Charles, Missouri, 63301. Pastored by ordained Pastor John Schumer. Yeah, Refreshing Word Fellowship Church has two services, Sunday at 11 a.m., for our praise and worship service with the meeting to follow. And then right after our regular standard Sunday services, we have an hour of power prayer on Thursdays from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. So catch those 2 days. It's at Refreshing Word Fellowship Church. All right, here's that weather forecast I was going to bring for you. And the temperatures got up to 56 or so today, which ain't the warmest, and it's not certainly the coldest. But if you were in the right place, you could sit outside for a bit. But the wind would come up sooner or later, and then the clouds would come over. And once that happened, brr, howdy do. So what we're going to be doing here is telling you about the remainder of the day. And the remainder of the day says that there are some clouds this evening, and they will give way to mainly clear skies overnight. Low temperatures of 28 degrees Fahrenheit with winds light and variable. And then for tomorrow, Thursday, November the 4th, mainly sunny skies with highs around 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be light and variable. Clear skies overnight with low temperatures around 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds light and variable. I say light and variable, I mean southeast at about 4 miles per hour. The ones earlier in the day will be south at 4 miles per hour. So, then for Friday, November the 5th, sunny skies with high temperatures around 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies overnight with low temperatures of 34 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for Saturday, November the 6th, mainly sunny skies with high temperatures around 63 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds south to southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear with low temperatures of 41 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. Winds will be light and variable, south to southwest at 5 miles per hour. Then for Sunday, November the 7th, mainly sunny skies with high temperatures up into 70s. That's right, coming back up into my neck of the woods. Winds about south at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and then mostly clear skies overnight. with temperatures low at around 46 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be south to southwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for our final and fifth day and final day of our 5-day forecast, mainly sunny skies for Monday, November the 8th. High temperatures of around 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds south to southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then clear skies overnight with a few passing clouds. Low temperatures of 49 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be light and variable, south to southwest at about 6 miles per hour. And that, my friends, concludes our 5-day forecast for the St. Charles viewing area. Alrighty, it looks like it's time to bring up our events. And today's events are going to be brought to you by Seasonal Wreaths by Jamie. That's right, Seasonal Wreaths by Jamie. That's right, we've got the holidays coming up, and I tell you what, friends, there is no better way to find decorations for your door or your home than Seasonal Wreaths by Jamie. She's quite the crafty gal, and if you check out her Facebook page at Seasonal Wreaths by Jamie, you will see what kind of products she can prepare for you. So don't you forget to check her out on Facebook. Those events that I was talking about, the lighting on Beale Street. That's right, Streets of St. Charles is going to be getting their tree lit up. That's right, all lit up here in town. That's right. Over at from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m., the tree lighting for the Streets of St. Charles on Beale Street will take place on November the 17th. So come on over and watch the Mayor Dan Wardmeyer, light the tree. Alrighty. And then what else do we got going on? Other events, Christmas Traditions Kickoff. Christmas Traditions Kickoff on November 26, 2021 at 12 p.m. to, that's noon o'clock to most of y'all folks, to 9 p.m. at Frontier Park. They're going to kick off. Now, they generally have a parade that runs around and up to the pavilion, so that would be not the pavilion, but the what is that little gazebo? Yes, the very gazebo there on First Capitol. So, not First Capitol, on Main Street, St. Charles, yeah. So, come on out for the procession and watch the kickoff of Christmas start right there on November the 26th, 2021, starting over at Frontier Park at the gazebo, or not at the gazebo, but at the pavilion, headed towards the gazebo. Alrighty then. That's 500 South Riverside Drive. Be there, be square. Alrighty then. I don't know if Bass Pro is going to do their Christmas thing or not, but they may, or they may not. I haven't heard anything about it yet. We'll see. We will find out for sure. Songs. How about a song? I got a song. You know what can be found sitting at home alone. You can't come around. At least please telephone, but don't be cruel to a heart that's true. Baby, if I made you mad for something I might have said, please let's forget the past, 'cause the future looks bright ahead. But don't be cruel. I got a heart that's true. I don't want no other love. Honey, it's just you I'm thinking of. Well, let's walk up to the preacher and let us say I do. Then you're gonna have me, baby, and I've got a little bit of your love too. But don't be cruel to a heart that's true. I don't want no other love. Honey, it's just you I'm thinking of. I get up to stop thinking about me, and don't make me feel this way. Come on over here and love me. You know what I want to say. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. Well, I don't know, I love her. Baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. But don't be cruel to a heart that's true. I said, don't be cruel to a heart that's true. Oh, I should we be apart? I really love you, baby. Across my heart. There you go. That was Elvis Presley. Well, yeah, kind of. Hey, you know what? I did get in front of that mic yesterday, but you know what? I didn't have it on. I mean, I had it on, but I didn't have it on my regular on. I had it on the fake on. All right, here we go. Another Elvis tune. The warden threw a party at the county jail. The prison band was there and they began to wail. The band was a-jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard them knocked out bellbird sing. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was a-dancing to the jailhouse rock. Well, Spider Murphy played the tenor saxophone, and Little Joe was blowing on the slide trombone. And drummer boy from Illinois went to crash, boom, bang, and the whole rhythm section was the Purple Gang. Let's rock. Well, everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was a-dancing to the jailhouse rock. Well, number 47 said to number 3, you're the cutest jailbird I ever did see. I sure would be delighted with your company. Come on and do the jailhouse rock with me. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block I was a-dancing to the jailhouse rock. Well, Sad Sack was sitting on a block of stone, way over there in the corner, weeping all alone. The warden said, hey, buddy, don't you be no square. If you can't find a partner, then grab a wooden chair. Let's rock. Hey, everybody, let's rock. Everybody knows how block. I was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Well, Shifty Henry said, hey, $2. For heaven's sake, no one's looking. So now's our chance to make a break. But Bugsy turned to Shifty and he said, Nick, I want to stick around while I get my kick. So let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody knows the block. I was a-dancing to the jazz rock. 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 All right, there you go. That was it. That was Elvis Presley. Hey, Mr. Bassman, I want to be a bassman too. All right, kids. Hey, it's time for story time with TV Grandpa. Time to jump up on the couch or on the bed or wherever you rest your sleepy little head. It's that time again. It's TV Grandpa Shen. Yep, that's right. Grandpa Shenandoah is about to tell you another little bedtime story. So here we go. Without further ado, this one is called The Magic Horse. And so, what would happen is, years ago, near the end, there's, New Year's feast. Okay, there we go. There was a traditional New Year's feast at the beginning of the spring, and at the royal palace, artists, craftsmen, and strangers would present their finest skills or treasures to the king. Well, if the king was pleased, he would grant them a fine gift. Well, near the end of one of these New Year's Day celebrations in Persia, a traveler came before the king. He presented an artificial horse that was richly decorated. Well, I flattered myself, said the stranger, addressing himself to the king, yet that you, your majesty, has never seen anything as wonderful as this. Any capable artist can create a horse such as that one, frowned the king. Sir, replied the traveler, it is not its direct decoration, but its use that makes this horse so exceptional. On his back I can ride through the air to the most distant parts of the earth in a very short time. I can even teach anyone else how to ride the magic horse. This interested the king. Well then, on that mountain over there, and the king pointed to a mountain over 10 miles away, there is a palm tree. The branches have a particular quality that I happen to like. Go, if your horse is as fast as you claim, and fetch me a branch of it. Well, the stranger mounted his horse, turning a peg in the neck. Away he and the horse flew. In 15 minutes he returned with a palm branch in his hand and landed at the king's feet. The king was impressed at once. He asked to purchase the horse. Your Majesty, said the traveler, the artist who sold me this horse made me swear that I would never part with it for money. Oh, well, what would it take? Demanded the king. The stranger replied that he would gladly give the horse away if his majesty would only bestow on him the hand of the princess, his daughter, in marriage. When the royal courtiers heard this extravagant request, they burst out laughing. The king's son, Prince Durius, was astonished, even more so when he saw his father, the king, looking thoughtful, as if he were seriously considering the offer. So stepping up to the king, Prince Durius said, Forgive me, father, but is it possible you would consider for a moment marrying off your daughter, my sister, to gain little more than a toy horse? In truth, the king was worried that if he refused, lost my place. In truth, the king was worried that if he refused the marriage request, then another king might get the magic horse, and he asked his son to examine the horse carefully and report his opinion of it. At least this would give him more time to consider the matter. Well, Prince Durius approached the horse. The traveler came forward to show the prince how to manage it, but the young prince was in no mood to take instructions from a stranger who had the nerve to try to trick his royal family. In too great a fury to listen, he leapt upon the saddle and turned the peg. In an instant the horse rose into the air, and with the prince on it. The stranger was most alarmed when he saw the prince fly away on the magic horse before he had learned how to manage it. He threw himself at the king's feet and begged the king not to blame him for any accidents which might happen to befall on the prince, since it was the prince's own carelessness that had exposed him to the danger. At once the king realized the danger of his son's situation. He cursed the stranger and his fatal horse, and ordered his officers to seize the traveler and carry him to prison. If my son does not return safely in a very short time, he thundered, At least I'll have the satisfaction of taking your paltry life. Well, in the meantime, Prince Darius was carried through the air with breathtaking speed. Soon he could scarcely even see the earth any more. He tried turning the peg this way and that, but it seemed to have no effect. If anything, the horse only rose further into the air. He was greatly alarmed, and began to regret his pride and hasty actions. He turned the peg every which way he could think of, but nothing worked. On examining the horse closely, he at last discovered another peg, one behind the ear. On turning the peg, he soon found the horse started to descend. By the time the prince drew near the ground, it had become dark. Spotting a rooftop higher than all of the others, he landed the horse upon it and dismounted. Hungry and tired, he searched about and found that he was on the roof of some large building. At last he came to some steps. Climbing down the steps, he found a door, and through the door he saw a light. A number of guards were asleep on pallets, and their swords lying beside them. This, along with the fact that this was the highest rooftop in the land, convinced the prince that he must be in the palace of the land. He knew that if any of the guards awakened, he would be in great danger. So he quietly climbed the steps back to the roof and decided to sleep for the night in a dark corner. Before dawn, he would leave on his magic horse before anyone awoke. But a prince had already been awakened by the sound, a princess had already been awakened by the sound she had heard on the roof. She instructed her guards to find out what had all alighted, and to bring the trespasser to her at once. The guard roughly brought the prince before her, and he fell on his knees. Go to sleep. And well, forgive me, princess, for awakening you, he said. I am the son of a king, and one who has taken an entirely unexpected adventure, the particulars of which I would be happy to relate to you, if you would allow me. Well, the lady, and none other than Princess Nadia, the daughter of the king of Bengal, a region in northern India of today. Many of her attendants by this time were also awakened, and the princess told Darius she would be glad to hear all about his adventures in the morning, but for the present asked him to withdraw. And she ordered her attendants so to conduct him to a bedchamber, and to supply him with food and refreshments. The next day, Prince Darius remained as a guest of Prince Nadia. Over the next few days, the two of them got to know each other, and before long, they fell in love. One afternoon, the prince said to her, my princess, everything seems different now. I was thinking about that scoundrel who tried to trick his way into my royal family. He was a no-good louse, to be sure, but he may be in prison or even executed on my account. When I know that I was the one who jumped on the horse before he had a chance to show me how it works. Well, the princess said, "Are you thinking of going back home? Will you come?" he asked, and she was glad to agree. The next morning the princess left a note so no one would worry. And at daybreak they went to the roof, and where the horse still remained. Princess Darius helped Princess Nadia to alight. Turning the peg, they were out of sight before any attendants in the palace were stirring. In 30 minutes, the prince had arrived at the capital of Persia. He steered the magic horse to land at the prison. As the prince had thought, the stranger was imprisoned there, and he was nearly beside himself, since his execution was scheduled to take place the very next morning. Determined to see his father at once about the matter, the prince first took the princess on his magic horse to a cottage in the woods not far from the palace. Hey, Craig. Hey, we're still okay. Well, stay here for a while. I'll go see my father, he said to her. I'll show him that I am well, and urge him to hold the execution of the fellow who brought the magic horse. Most of all, I want to tell my father about you. I am sure he'll prepare a suitable reception at the palace to welcome a princess. Well, he explained to her how to operate the magic horse in case she might need to flee for safety while he was away. Indeed, danger was lurking, even as they spoke. A thief behind the bushes had overheard their conversation, all of it. What luck, he thought, with glee. A princess alone and a magic horse. I'll take her to the Sultan of Kashmir. He's made it known for a while he is seeking a bride. What a fine reward I will get for her. Well, the thief waited for the prince to disappear into the woods, and then he sprang on the princess, mounted the magic horse, and held her securely in front of him. Overjoyed at how easy it was, he turned the peg exactly how he had seen the prince show the princess to do it, and the horse immediately rose into the air. Astonished was the prince on the ground to hear the alarmed cries of his lovely lady circling overhead as the magic horse dipped and dove from inexperienced hands, and he could do nothing about it. He cursed the kidnapper with 1,000 curses, and while the king was overjoyed to see his son and his request ordered to stay of execution for the seller of the horse, he understood why his son must leave again so quickly. Well, the prince put on the clothing of a beggar and determined never to return till he had found his princess again. But the Sultan of Kashmir, in the meantime, was very impressed with the princess of Bengal. Her distress at her kidnapping only added to her natural beauty, or so his evil mind thought. The Sultan delivered the promised reward and then escorted the princess to his palace. He directed his attention to bring the magical horse on which they had arrived to the royal treasure for safekeeping. Well, the princess hoped that the Sultan of Kashmir would prove honorable and reasonable, and would return her to her beloved prince of Persia. But she was much disappointed. In fact, the next morning she was awakened early by the sound of trumpets and of the beating of drums, which echoed through the palace and the city. And when she asked the cause of this great rejoicing, she was told it was to celebrate her marriage with the Sultan, which was to take place later that day. "29 minutes. Hey, Craig, you probably ought to head in for work. Catch the rest later, okay? Anyway, not desperate, there was only one thing that she felt she could do. She rose and dressed herself carelessly, and in her whole behavior appeared to be disordered and wild. The Sultan was soon told of this strange development, and when he came to visit her, she put on the appearance of frenzy, flew at him in a rage, and this she did every time he came into the room. The Sultan was much disturbed and offered large rewards to any doctor who could cure her. But whenever any doctors approached, the princess would fly at them too and beat her fists, and so that all began to lose hope for her recovery. During this time, Prince Durius, disguised as a wandering beggar, had been traveling through many provinces, full of grief and uncertain which way to go to find his beloved princess. With nearly all hope gone, he rested on a rock. Then, who should happen to pass before him but the very stranger who had brought the magical horse to the New Year's Eve feast, more tattered looking than ever, yet glad indeed to have been released from prison. "And where, may I ask, is the magic horse?" he said to the prince. "Has it proved as unpredictable as an item for you as it did to me?" The two of them sat and shared their troubles in the way of telling tales. The scruffy man related a story of a princess from Bengal who had become mad on the day of her wedding to the Sultan of Kesher. As he described the circumstances, a flicker of hope lit the prince's heart. Could this princess of Bengal be the same lost love he sought? Well, he was determined to find out. Arriving at the capital city of Kashmir, he put on the clothes of a doctor. Presenting himself before the Sultan, he claimed that he could cure the princess. "First," said the pretend doctor, "I must see her where she cannot see me." So he was led into a closet where he could watch her through a hole in the door. She was carelessly singing a song in which she wailed of her unhappy fate. "Yes," he thought, trying to contain his excitement, "it is my bride." Prince Durius, as the doctor, told the Sultan that indeed the princess could be cured, but he would need to speak with her alone. The Sultan agreed, and as soon as the prince entered the room, she began to rave at him in her usual furious manner, at which point he held her wrist and whispered urgently, "I'm Darius, your beloved." The princess stopped raving at once. The attendants withdrew, delighted at this proof of the doctor's abilities. In more whispers, the prince shared a plan with her. Then he returned to the Sultan. The pretend doctor shook his head and said, "All depends upon a mere chance. You see, the princess, a few hours before she was taken ill, must have touched something enchanted. Unless I can obtain that something, whatever it was, I cannot cure her." Well, the Sultan of Kashmir remembered the magic horse, which was still kept in his treasury. He called for it to be brought to him and showed it to the imaginary doctor. On seeing the horse, the young man said very gravely, I congratulate you, your majesty. This indeed is the very magic object that enchanted the princess. Let this horse be brought out into the great square before the palace, and let the princess be there. I promise that in a few minutes she will be perfectly cured." Accordingly, the following morning, the magic horse was placed in the middle of the square. The supposed doctor drew a large circle around it. He placed around the circle chafing dishes, with a little fire in each. The Sultan, with all his nobles and ministers of state, watched with great interest while the princess was brought out with her head covered in a veil, and led to the middle of the circle. The pretended doctor placed her upon the enchanted horse. He then went around to each chafing dish and threw in a certain powder, which soon raised such a cloud of smoke that neither the physician, the princess, nor the magical horse could be seen through it. And at that instant the Prince of Persia mounted the horse himself. Turning the peg, the magic horse rose into the air. The princess called down, "Sultan of Kashmir, you need not lose what you never owned." And the prince called down, "A bird's heart must be earned. A bride's heart must be earned. It cannot be purchased." And that same day, the Prince of Persia and his beloved princess arrived safely at the palace and at the Persian court. The father rejoiced at the son's return and immediately ordered a wedding celebration with the greatest splendor that had ever been seen in the land. And so the prince and princess lived happily ever after. The end. There you go, kids. Hey, I hope you enjoyed it. If any of the rest of you kids enjoy this show, go ahead and tell your mom and dad to like it, or love it, or just care about it. Okay? Anyway, this here has been Shenandoah Briscoe. Now, we need to move right on into the Daily Bread portion of the program. Daily Bread portion of the program is brought to you today by The Bible with Briscoe 2021. The Bible with Briscoe 2021 is a daily reading of the Bible to be completed within 1 year. Today's daily reading will consist of Jeremiah 30 through 31 and Philemon. Okay. So, don't forget to tune into the Bible with Briscoe 2021 for your daily reading of the Bible. Okay, today's devotion in the Daily Bread is Comfort Shared. And we will find out about comfort being shared in 2 Corinthians 1, 3 through 8. Praise to the God of all comfort. Praise be to thee, God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. For just as we share abundantly in the sufferings of Christ, so also our comfort abounds through Christ. If we are distressed, it is for your comfort and salvation. If we are comforted, it is for your comfort, which produces in you patient endurance of the same suffering we suffer. And our hope for you is firm, because we know that just as you share in our suffering, so also you share in our comfort. We do not want you to be uninformed, brothers and sisters, about the troubles we experienced in the province of Asia. We were under great pressure far beyond our abilities to endure, so that we despaired of life itself. Okay, that was 2 Corinthians 1, 3 through 8, which describes comfort of our Father God through Jesus Christ. Alrighty, hey, that's the Daily Bread portion of the program, which was brought to you today by The Bible with Briscoe 2021. The Bible with Briscoe 2021 is a daily reading of the Bible to be completed within 1 year. Don't forget to tune into The Bible with Briscoe 2021 for your daily reading of the Bible. Alrighty then, hey folks, that's it. That's all. That's the Shen Show in the nutshell. Got one more song for you, and that would be, oh, well, goodbye, my friends, it's time to go. Come on, my friends, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must go. So goodbye, my friends, goodbye. Goodbye, my friends, goodbye. Alrighty, hey, that's it. That's gone. We're out. We're done. We're finished. So, hey, this here has been Shen Briscoe saying hello and how are you? Thanks for tuning in to the Shen Show, and as always, God loves you and so do I. So come back and see me tomorrow because, well, hey, I'll be here, and I hope that you are too.